Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope that you are doing so very well. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is Kindness Challenge. We are still at $35, but I think I may switch up how we're doing this a little bit. I'm still working out the kinks on that, but I'll let you know whenever I figure it out, and we can help women in Ethiopia become self-sufficient by helping them start their own small business. I'm also wearing my Deathly Hallows shirt today. It's from the Harry Potter park. It's pretty great. And now let's talk about the books. This month I read 9 books, 7 of which were contemporaries, and I also read a lot of audiobooks and ebooks, lots of library books this month. First up, I've got The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jennifer E. Smith. This is about a girl named Hadley, and she is on her way to London for her dad's second wedding. She's bitter that she's even going in the first place, and she accidentally misses her first flight to London, which puts her on another flight with a boy named Oliver, and they end up talking and getting together, but then after baggage claim, they both go their separate ways. Hadley goes to the wedding, and maybe they'll find each other again, or maybe not. You'll have to read it to see, even though I didn't really like this a lot, so I wouldn't recommend that you read it to see. You can ask me about spoilers below. I'll tell you with the enter spoiler thing, because I don't think you should waste your time. Last year I read This Is What Happy Looks Like by her, and I loved that book so much, but this one not so much. I think the writing style was one main thing. It was written in third person present tense. When books are written like that specifically, I'm like, why? I also felt like this had the potential to be really cute, and it wasn't. The relationship wasn't super developed, which isn't surprising because the book is this short and they spend most of the book apart dealing with their own issues, which is something I did like, but I feel like nothing was really fully resolved. It just kind of happened and it was like, okay, I guess it was kind of cute, but then it was like, why does this book exist? It had some redeeming qualities. It was probably my least favorite contemporary I've ever read. I liked the actual romantic kind of situation, but I didn't connect to the characters. I didn't like the writing, but This Is What Happy Looks Like by Jennifer E. Smith. A+, 10 out of 10 would recommend that book. I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. Next up is The One in a Million Boy by Monica Wood. This is about a lady named Ona Vidkis. She has this boy come to her who's a Boy Scout who's helping her with stuff, and then he suddenly dies, and his dad comes to fulfill that job, and then some friendship starts up because of that. I read this for book club this month. I definitely would not have ever picked this book up by myself, with good reason, because I didn't really like it. I think the audiobook was one of the main reasons that I didn't like it. It was super monotone. The narrator was not good. So if you do want to read this book, if it sounds interesting to you, don't read the audiobook, please. I found the story to be really interesting, but then it didn't really go anywhere and it was kind of flat. It was very literary in that sense, but a lot of things seemed like they didn't have a point and there wasn't like an end goal in mind, and so it was kind of like, why is this happening? But I really loved Ona as a character. I loved hearing about her life, but overall it was just kind of like, eh. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up was By Your Side by Casey West. This is about a girl named Autumn who gets stuck in a library over a weekend. Turns out she's not alone in the library. This boy named Dax is there, and they get to know each other through that weekend, but then whenever the weekend is over and they go back to their normal lives, they have to figure out how to navigate their new friendship and possibly more. It's a contemporary book, so what do you think? Overall, I liked this book. It was enjoyable, but there just wasn't a lot of development. The romance and the characters didn't feel super fully developed, and neither did the plot. The things that I liked about this book were that one of the main characters had an anxiety disorder and the other one was in foster care. I have not seen hardly any books with any characters in foster care, so I really liked that. I did read some things that said that the anxiety disorder didn't really ring 100% true because it wasn't own voices, but there was never any jokes at the expense of Autumn, who has the anxiety disorder. And also her family is super supportive and doesn't talk down to her. They really help her and make sure that she is most comfortable, and whenever she's not, they tell her it's okay and support her decision, whatever she needs to do to feel better, and let her take mental health days, and it's really fabulous for that aspect. Overall, like I said, enjoyable, but not my favorite Casey West book. Next up was Open Road Summer by Emery Lord. This book is about a girl named Reagan who has had a lot of issues in her past. She's gone through a lot of different things, and her best friend is essentially Taylor Swift. Her name is Lila Montgomery, and she's going on tour this summer, and Reagan joins up and goes on tour with her. Because of something that arises, this boy named Matt ends up joining them on tour as an opening act for Lila, and there may be some chemistry between Matt and Reagan there. Hey. I really liked this book plot-wise. I loved the romance. I loved the whole girl on tour with her best friend who's famous, and the fact that it was about her best friend and not about the girl on tour who's like the big famous person. I really liked all of those aspects. The romance was fantastic, and they brought out the best in each other, and it was super fabulous. But there was one thing that knocked this book way down, which was that the main character, Reagan, had a huge problem with slut shaming. She hated hated every girl except for Lila, and she made fun of the way that they dressed, how they were like in love with Matt, or how they were like fawning over Lila. She just like hated all girls, and she was so down on girls. That was such a big part of Reagan's character, and it was laced throughout the book, and there was no resolution to that. Nobody called her out on it, and she didn't learn anything throughout the book or acknowledge that she was wrong, and it was just so sad because I was like, this book would be so good except for that piece. If it had not been such a big part, this book would have gotten a higher rating from me. It probably would have gotten a 4, but because of that whole aspect, it got a 3 out of 5 stars from me. It could even go down to a 2 because of just how harmful that was, but I really liked the story. But the slut shaming just takes it way down. Next up is The Fillin Boyfriend by Casey West. This is about a girl named Gia, and on the night of prom, her boyfriend dumps her in the parking lot before she's about to go inside to prom. The problem with this is that all her friends have not met Bradley, and one of them in particular thinks that she's making him up. So she thinks fast and is like, I gotta do something about this. Sees a boy in the parking lot, convinces him to be her fake date, and the book is just them being each other's fake dates for different things and getting to know each other. This was a really cute read. I didn't really love Gia as a character, especially at the beginning. I did not connect with her at all, but she grows a lot and changes a lot throughout the book, which I think is the reason you're not supposed to like her at the beginning, I guess, but I just really couldn't connect with her until maybe like 2/3 the way through the book. The main guy in this book, Hayden, I loved him. He was super sweet and super nerdy and the most precious, even though the plot wasn't 100% there and it was just kind of like, I don't know what's happening. I really did love Gia's growth as a character and how she changed her perspectives and became a better person through knowing Hayden. It was precious and I liked it a lot. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up is On the Fence, also by Casey West. Getting through all them Casey West books, I know. This is about a girl named Charlie. She's always grown up with brothers and her honorary 4th brother, Brayden. This summer, things start to change for her a little bit. She gets a job at a place that is a little bit more girly than her taste because she's grown up really as a tomboy. And then she also discovers that she's kind of fallen for Brayden. She's fallen for one of her best friends and she doesn't know what to do about it. How will this summer end? It's romance, you know like where it's going, but I'm trying to make it mysterious. Oh my gosh, this was so cute. I really didn't relate with Charlie at all, but you know me, the freaking best friends to lovers trope is my all-time favorite thing ever, forever and ever and ever and ever. And that was what this book was, and I was like, yes, 100% here for it. And it was just really cute. Brayden was so precious. Issues that I had with it were that most of Charlie's development as a person were based on conversations she had with Brayden. So her development didn't feel totally her own, which was the main issue that I had with it, as well as not connecting with Charlie at the beginning. But the romance was so cute, I just can't. I can't. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. And last but not least, we have The Distance Between Us by Casey West. This book is about Cayman, who is a girl who lives in this town that is really split between people who are poor and people who are rich. Her mom owns a shop that sells really creepy dolls that rich people come in and buy. She's never really like known that world because she's not part of that world. Then she meets Xander and things start happening between them. She doesn't want to like him because he's rich and she has all these ideas of that, but then some things happen and you'll just have to read it to see what they are. This was definitely my favorite Casey West book besides P.S. I Like You. Like, I'm a tie between those two. And this book was, as usual with contemporaries, very predictable, very convenient, but I loved it anyway. I think I'm also finding out that another trope that I really like is rich or famous boy and ordinary girl, which is like the tropiest of tropes, like super unrealistic, but I still love it. Not as much as Best Friends to Lovers, but I still love that trope a lot. I just really loved Xander. He was super down to earth and was a really awesome, nice guy. Like, he was just genuinely very nice and cared about Cayman, and it was just like, I love you so much. And there was a lot of stuff that happened at the end that added a lot more drama that I wish would have happened sooner so it could have had more resolution, but I still loved having those added elements in there. That are spoilery, so I'm not gonna say what they are. I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it. Next up is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This is about Natasha and Daniel. Natasha's family is 24 hours away from being deported and she's just trying to stay in New York City. And Daniel is about to go interview for a college that he doesn't really want to go to, but he's decided to let this last day take him where it leads him, and it leads him to Natasha. And over the course of one day, 24 hours in New York City, they meet and it's just beautiful. On the surface, when you're thinking about it, this book seems very insta-lovey, but because this is over the course of 24 hours, it doesn't feel insta-lovey because there's like writing to develop the romance. So it kind of is insta-love, but it's also not. I just think this book is super timely and super beautiful, and also super diverse and wonderful. And in between the chapters of Natasha and Daniel, there's also like one-off chapters from the points of view of other characters that they encounter throughout this day, and it was just so beautifully written, and it was just about love and finding people. This held up to all my expectations. It was fantastic and phenomenal and everything. I loved it so much. I'm just an emotional mess thinking about this book. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Though I feel like after talking about it, I could push it up to a 5. I possibly will if I think about it more. And last but not least is A Crown of Wishes by Roshni Chokshi. I'm sure that you've heard me talk about this like 50 bajillion times on this channel, and I don't even care because it's so good and you need to read it. This is about a girl named Gauri and a boy named Vikram. In our live show, I think someone said it was pronounced Gauri, but that was me like googling pronunciations of Gauri and Vikram so I could say them right, and that was how they said that they were, but I don't know. I Google pronunciations like nobody's business, so I'm really sorry if I ever mispronounce things. I always try to pronounce everything correctly, but sometimes there's not pronunciation guides and sometimes it's just me googling before I film the video like how to say all of these names, even though sometimes I forget. They don't know each other, they're from warring kingdoms, but together they enter this tournament of wishes to win a wish each. There's a lot of obstacles that they have to face, and they also kind of have some sparks between them, some chemistry. The characters in this book were some of my all-time favorites. I really loved reading about them, and that's all I'm going to say on this book. If you want to hear a better summary and hear more of my thoughts, you can go watch my review. I will link it here. It has a non-spoiler section, so go watch it. You can watch the non-spoiler section to learn more about this book, and also you should read it because it's the best. It's so good. You should read it, yes. And that's it. That's all the books that I read in April. Hey! Let me know down below if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts on them are. I want to know. I want to discuss with you. If you liked this video, go ahead and like it, and if you want to see more of my face in your feed, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Boop boop. I can't remember what any of these books are about. Too many contemporaries. I can't remember any of their names. I have to read all of them right now. Blah, blah, blah.